On planet Z, height is a function of time. We have this formula. And this models your height jumping off a cliff into water. So here we are, standing on a platform ledge here, and we're going to jump very high and splash into water over here. So the question here is, what is your initial height? The key word here is initial. Initial means that time equals 0. And when time is 0, not 1, not 2, 3, 4, or 5, when time is 0, the y value or the h value, the height is going to be 6. So the answer is 6. And by the way, just talking about that initial height, we can always substitute using algebra. T equals 0. Substitute 0 into here, and the h value, the h is going to be negative 0 minus 2 squared plus 10. We have negative 2 squared is going to be 4 plus 10, which is 6. So even using algebra and substitution, we can figure out this initial height. When do you reach your maximum height? Over here. Now please don't confuse the y value or the h value and the x value or the t value. We're not talking about up and down motion, we're talking about when. It's going to be time equals 2 seconds later. At 2 seconds later, we reach our maximum height over here. So it's going to be 2 seconds. What is the maximum height that you achieve? Now we're talking about the actual height, and the maximum height here, if you look sideways, is 10. 10 units. Perhaps it's 10 meters. After you jump, for how long are you above a height of 6 meters? So we initially jump here, and we're interested in how long we're above the clouds. This nice line, this blue line here, we're going to jump up in the air, and how long are we above? And it looks like we're above as long as we're between these 2 points. We're going to count 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. When do you land in the water? So the question of when, we're talking about the x value or the t value. We land in the water here, which is 5 point something. How do we do this without a calculator? So here's the original equation. And notice how when you land in the water, the y value or the h value is 0. So we're going to substitute 0 is equals to negative t minus 2 squared plus 10. We're going to throw this term to the left. The negative term now becomes a positive term. And we're going to square root both sides. When you square root both sides, remember to take the plus minus square root answers. Finally, we're going to add 2 to both sides. And so we get plus minus root 10 plus 2. Now another way of doing this and solving this is to use the quadratic formula. We have h equals negative, and I'm going to expand this t minus 2 squared out. This is going to be t squared minus 4t plus 4 plus 10. I'm going to distribute the negative sign. So we have negative t squared plus 4t minus 4 plus 10 is going to be plus 6. So we're used to y's and x's, but the quadratic formula still applies. Let me just remind you, this is similar to y equals negative x squared plus 4x plus 6. And recall that we can find the roots. X is equals to minus b, minus 4, that came from here, plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 ac all over 2 times a. And we just clean this up. as being plus minus the square root of. The answer is 40. Now 40 can be erased and replaced with 2 times 2, which is 4 times 10. So we're going to make one of these 2's break out. 2 root 10 all over negative 2. And we're going to use simplification strategies. We're going to break it to this divided by this. So this is going to be negative 4 divided by negative 2 is going to be 2 plus minus, and then this divided by this, the 2 and 2 cancels, so we have root 10. Now this is the same answer as what we had previously, but we have to remember to reject the impossible. That's the hardest thing of this quadratic chapter, is you do everything right, but you need to reject impossible answers. So the final answer will be 2 plus root 10 only. Please remember to reject the negative answer. Use your calculator to actually verify the decimal number. Using our calculator, we realize that if we're to subtract 2 minus root 10, we get a negative answer, and this is impossible. You cannot have negative time. Whereas the second answer is much more reasonable, 5.16 here.